Om Shanti. Good evening. Everyone well today? Because it was a holiday yesterday. So welcome. A friend came today and I haven't seen her in months, maybe almost a year. And she just stepped in and she says, so much has been happening, and that was the words that came out. And then we ended up in a little conversation about how things are in the world. And she was just sharing how she's really had to make a conscious choice of trying to keep herself grounded. And I think many of us can kind of relate to this, yes? That we live in times that sometimes seem overwhelming. And sometimes you need a break after having a break. You feel that? You go on holiday and you come back and you think, I need another holiday to recover from my holiday. Had a friend at work who had kids, boys, 3 boys. And after the holiday, December, so our company would close for December holidays. When she'd come back, she'd be more exhausted than before she left for the holidays. And she said, no, it's too much. But sometimes we feel like that, isn't it? It's not the kids, it's not this, it's just sometimes the demands of life seem to be overwhelming. And I think what we're trying to do is just find a moment of solace sometimes, just a moment to catch my breath, so to speak, or a moment just to have nothing to do or nowhere to be. You can relate to things like this. And so that meditation that we listened to was really giving me a window into just being. And ultimately, I think that's where we feel most comfortable and most at ease. There's a saying that many people, when they come to meditate, quite a few, and we normally just check why, have you decided to come and learn meditation? And so often it's about, I just want peace of mind. And I see some heads nodding here. So yes, you know what I'm talking about, because the mind is so busy. And so just finding a way to manage my thoughts, finding a way to gather my thoughts perhaps, and just seeing, hey, what's happening up there? In there, not up there, in there perhaps, so that I can gain perspective. And so these are all the things that I think sometimes, or some of the things that we grapple with on a day-to-day basis. And perhaps it's become almost a norm. And so we just try and cope or get by the best we can. And sometimes never feeling like we're getting what we want to from it, but we just keep going like the hamster in the wheel. And it's really about just trying to keep my head above water. So it's with those things in mind that I wanted to share today. But before we get going into our talk, which is tools for tough times, if you didn't know, that's the topic. And it's about building inner resilience. So I want to just take us through a short little reflection. So I'm going to invite you to just close your eyes for a moment and sit back, relax, your feet firmly on the ground, your back upright, and just take a deep breath in, gently breathe out and just let go. Relax into this moment. And just allow the thoughts in your mind to just slowly dissipate. I just release all the thoughts of today, the past. Just let them go and become fully present in this moment. And I imagine for a moment that my mind is a blank canvas. And I just take a moment and without thinking too much, but just getting a sense of what my inner wisdom, my intuition is guiding me to. I think about the word resilience. And as I hold this thought in my mind, what image emerges on the canvas of my mind? So when I think of resilience, what's the image that comes into my mind's eye? And it's the first image that comes. It might not make sense. It might seem unrelated, but that's okay. And so just bring that clearly into your mind's eye. Take note of what emerged for you. Just hold it for a moment. As you allow your mind to rest on this image and the associated thoughts and feelings that it might bring up, how does this image relate to you? Can you see aspects of yourself that is represented in this image that you created and emerged? Is there any way that you are like that image and hold the qualities of that image? And so just sit with this for a moment. Just consolidating your image with the thoughts in your mind, whatever may have come up. And then very gently, I invite you to come back so you can open your eyes and just become present in this moment. Okay, so I'm interested to hear what images might have come up for you, and those online, please feel free to put it in the chat. Anyone? Nothing came. Maybe that's also significant. Yes.
Was it Cape Point today?
Hmm.
And it was terribly windy. Bushes were just holding the flowers in the frontier really strongly in the wind. So that
Okay, so someone's just sharing. They were at Cape Point today and it was very windy. And she just saw there was this bush with proteas, and although the wind was so strong, the proteas were still on the bush. So that image emerged in this moment. Thank you, Sue. Someone is saying a tree, and Kia is saying a strong, unbreakable rope. Wonderful. Carol, blazing sun. Anyone else in the house?
I thought the stump that is unmovable.
A stump, like a tree stump?
Like the tree.
Okay, so a tree stump that is unmovable. Nice. Someone is saying being like, it's Lakshmi, being like a strong and stable. Okay. Feroza, interesting. A piece of twisted rubber. Wonderful. Such variety coming in. Anyone else here?
a smiling face.
A smiley face. Okay.
When we're not feeling so strong, often we don't smile.
Okay.
Nickname by those people is joyful. So, because my name is Joy.
Joy.
That's my nickname. And of course, often one doesn't feel that way when one is feeling.
Okay.
And then one needs to go back to that potential.
So Joy sharing very beautifully, a smiley face, and why is that when we're not feeling so great, then that's not what we are. And so this idea of bringing that back, because then it comes back to self. Yeah. I'm not very good at repeating identically, so my apologies if I missed some of it. So Lakshmi is just saying it was being like a tree, strong and stable. One more. Yes.
The light shining bright in the darkness.
A light shining bright in the darkness. Wonderful. So obviously these things that came up as images mean something for you, right? Could you see yourself in that image, or was it quite foreign? Okay, Joy, definitely. She shared her. Yes. Maybe sometimes, not all the time. Oh, there's lovely Marie saying child who never gives up is an image that came up of resilience. So I think there's a few key words or phrases or things that we can pick up from resilience, right? Strong, yes. Immovable, never giving up. What else can we say? Okay, let's think of resilience. When you just think of the word, how would you describe resilience?
Tenacity.
Capacity?
Tenacity.
Oh, tenacity. Tenacity. Yeah. Strong, stable. Yeah.
The ability to see that strength which we do have.
The ability within us to seek that strength that we have within us. The ability to seek that strength which we have within us. Nice. So just talking about it makes you feel good, isn't it? I'm feeling like I can do some interesting things. There's a few more in the chat. I'm just going to share. Determined, able to withstand, firm, love, running water that will always find its way, bounce back, not afraid of failure, not giving up. And if we think about it, we all hold these within ourselves, right? You can think of moments when you emerge these qualities, or you acted from a place of nothing's going to get me down. I am going to beat this thing. No matter what, I will get up again. And there's a sense of like a drive and a purpose that allows that to happen. So it's like, I know what I want to create, and I'm willing to do whatever I need to for that. So I'm driven in a way, this ability to bounce back, to be firm in my principles or whatever it is that I have, is because I'm very clear about my intention and my purpose. And so when we talk about resilience, I think of it in terms of this. So, many said, like the image of the tree came up a few times, strong, stable, anchored, all of these, immovable kind of a thing. Why? What does the tree have or does that creates these kind of thoughts or feelings?
The tree crystal or the tree its root. Very deep.
That's it.
That gives it the ability to stand the way.
Mm. Mm. That's it. Stable. And so Jeff is sharing that a tree has roots that go deep. And so because it goes deep, it's strong and it's anchored. And so it has the ability to withstand the storms that comes its way. And so we know the deeper the roots, the more stable that tree is. So when you see these tall trees, and they do move, but they don't break. Can you imagine how deep their roots are? If you think about it. And it's beautiful because nature teaches us so much, but The roots are not seen. You can't see it. You can see whether the root, you can know whether the roots are deep by looking at the tree itself and how it fends or manages against the storm. And so this aspect of resilience, I think, is something similar. You know, it's the inner work. I don't want to use the word work. Work is like a heavy kind of a feeling, and we don't want to create that. It's the inner capacity that I build within myself that gives me that stability and strength to withstand whatever is in front of me at any given moment. And so we need a lot of that, isn't it? Because at every moment, something's coming at you, and maybe not necessarily coming at you from the outside, but think about how sometimes internally a memory pops up. Oh, you see something and it triggers some childhood trauma or something, you know, it comes up quickly in a moment. That's when I need to be more resilient, I think, because it's like this inner little push and pull kind of a feeling that on the one hand, I have this capacity, it comes up. Can I draw on the capacity that I've accumulated? And so that's the key, that resilience is not something that just comes by the way. It doesn't happen because I tell myself, okay, I'm resilient. Wonderful to tell yourself that, because positive thoughts and reinforcing empowerment within your mind is an important aspect, but that's not enough. I need to go deep within myself. Now, we know what we have to do, but we don't do it. Many of us are like that. And why? Because sometimes when I have to go deep within myself, it means I'm going into territory that I'm not comfortable sometimes. And I'm scared to see what might emerge. But if I can change that perspective, if I can change that perception, right? It's just a perception and a belief, perhaps steeped in fear, that imagine what wonders I can discover about myself. It just flips the whole energy around, because when I change it, and again, it's about intention and purpose and what's going to support me fulfilling that intention and purpose. When I flip it around and say, okay, let's see what wonders I'm going to discover within myself, it emerges a sense of curiosity, of wonder, of creativity, of being surprised in the best way possible. And so then there's like a willingness to venture there. And that's the first step. I must be willing and open to go somewhere that I might not be familiar with. And so that requires a lot of trust, compassion, love, patience, all these wonderful energies. So on the one hand, resilience is strong, right? We said it's strong, it's powerful, it's stable, it's anchored. But the energies that help to bring me to that place of resilience is compassion, kindness, softer energies. Yes, definitely. Joy is just sharing. Humility is another big one that we need. Definitely. So it's interesting. It's like this beautiful balance of strong and, not to say softer is not weaker, it's strong in a different way, in a quieter way. And these two coming together is what creates that strong foundation on which I can stand firm. Because love, compassion, mercy, all of these are quiet powers, but in the world they looked in as weakness, you know. You can't get by in the world if you're going to engage with those things, but it takes so much more to be peaceful than to say something or act in some way. It takes a lot to hold compassion for myself, because it means I'm okay despite whatever the hardships, but I can say I'm okay and give that love to myself, which is not always easy. And sometimes that's the struggle that we face, I think. I remember I had started meditation, and it must have been a few years I had already been practicing. And I would have wonderful experiences in meditation initially. Now it's not as great. I think because when you start something, there's enthusiasm, there's a feeling of new experiences. So you ride on that wave, you know. After a while, things can become a little flat, and it has happened, but I try to keep it alive again. But I remember I was sitting in meditation, and in our meditation, it's about connecting to self as soul and then connecting with the divine as the source of everything. And so I was sitting, and suddenly there was just this feeling of, I don't know how to describe, but just like powerful energies and vibration of love, absolute love, you know. And I remember sitting, I'm thinking like, what is this? And then there came a point when I just, in my mind, I said, stop, it's too much. And it was a bit of a, you know, it took me aback, that thought that came, because I think we all want to experience love, right? In some way or the other. And so this came to me, but it was too much. And so then it got me thinking about, why would I resist something that I've been wanting to experience and I know is something I've been aspiring to experience? And there was just this thought and this feeling, I don't feel worthy. I don't feel deserving of this. And so in our life as well, sometimes we go through difficulties and challenges, and subtly we create this belief, I don't deserve. And it might not be in that way. It might come across as you can't get anything easily. If you want to attain anything, you have to struggle and fight and work for it. And so these become subtle blockages that don't allow me to have that compassion for myself. And so when that energy is blocked, then I feel like I'm constantly hitting my head against a wall. I'm doing so much, you know, I'm really pulling all the stops out, but still I don't feel what it is that I want to create for myself. And so that's why the invitation to go inside, because we know whatever it is that we need and whatever it is that we want, we already hold within ourselves. You know, I came across something today, was it today or yesterday? And where it was talking about peace of mind and saying, you know, many people want to experience peace of mind, but after that, it followed that, but the soul is peaceful. So you don't need to look for peace of mind. You are that already. And I love that. I mean, I know it, but do I use it in a day-to-day basis? And that's what builds resilience then, that I need to use it. But in order to use it, I need to connect my head and my heart to it. We spoke of the strong energy of resilience, but the soft aspect of the power, the compassion, all of these things. And so it's the same correlation in a way. My head knows, my heart needs to accept that when there's that marriage that happens between head and heart, then that's something that I can build on from. And so how do I marry the two? What I think is what I must experience. So if I say, I want to be peaceful, I'm just using that as an example, then do I find moments or do I take time out or invest in experiencing that peace? Because once you taste something and it's nice, what happens to you? You want more, isn't it? And you'll always be on the lookout, kind of a thing. You'll remember, it will come to the forefront of your mind. So that's it. We need to taste whatever it is that we want to experience, and not just like a superficial thing, because remember, we need to go deep in order to create that stage of stability. So it's about digging deeper, or maybe not digging, again, that feels like work, but it's about uncovering the different levels of stuff that has accumulated that sort of blocks me from experiencing that. And the mind is one of the biggest obstacles, not the mind, the thoughts that we create. The mind is a wonderful tool. The thoughts that we create can be the biggest challenge in allowing this process to happen. And so I need to make that connection from head to heart. But what am I connecting to? That's important, because that's my intention and my purpose. So I'm going to invite you now again into a little reflection. So again, just sit comfortably. And now I want you, as you close your eyes, just imagine that you're in an open space that has many trees. And suddenly a storm emerges just almost out of nowhere. And so see yourself in this place, open space with trees, and your eyes fall on one tree. And you just observe this tree as the wind howls, the rain batters the branches and the leaves, but the tree standing tall, bending but not breaking. Very stable from the roots. And so as I create these thoughts, my mind goes towards the roots. And just for a moment, I imagine the system of roots below the ground, that which is hidden from my eyes, that which anchors this tree, providing that stability, and how it's able to withstand whatever nature provides. And so in a similar light, I take a step back and I focus on myself. And I think about my roots. What are my roots? What is it that keeps me anchored, that keeps me grounded, that keeps me stable? What are the guiding principles and values that I align myself with, that provides that supportive, stable foundation? What is it that is important to me, that helps to keep me connected to self, anchored in my own truth? And so words might come up, perhaps an image emerges for you, or just a feeling of something that resonates. So let's just hold that feeling, thought, energy, whatever came up for you. And then I'm going to invite you to just come back into the space, into the present moment. Okay, so anything? Adaptability, lovely. Becoming one with all the trees. Nice. So is it like a connectedness?
Yes.
A connectedness.
Matching.
Like matching.
Yeah, matching.
Oh, merging.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Lovely, lovely. Anyone else? Deborah saying my breath. Okay, great. Kia, authenticity and purity is what came up for her. Beautiful. Anyone else in the room?
Peace and comfort.
Peace and comfort. Right. Lakshmi, accepting, adaptable, and flexible. Nice. Now, anything from your side? Peace, belief. Okay. In yourself? And she's going upwards in the heavens above, in the supreme, in the divine. Lovely. Okay, anyone else? Someone else is also saying connection to God's unconditional love. Wonderful. So it's Carol is saying hope, something. It's some energy that you resonate and sits well with you very naturally and easily. And for everyone, it will be different, even if it's the same quality, the way you relate to it will be different. And so it's important to be able to acknowledge that and own that, so that I don't try to copy what the blueprint says it should be like. And I don't know who created the blueprint. Some people probably, because when I try to copy, then definitely I'll never be content. I'll always be chasing. I'll always be struggling. I'll always be fighting. I'll feel good, then I'll feel not so good because of that comparison. And so it's about finding my authenticity. And I think someone spoke of authenticity. I think it was Kia. Yeah, being authentic. It's about finding my authenticity and trusting in that, and then allowing myself to explore that for myself. And it's a beautiful thing, because when I make it about me, and I know that sounds selfish in the world, if you're just thinking about yourself, that's selfish. But if I make it about putting I in as a priority, that's the love and the compassion that I hold for myself. Because I know that if I'm okay, I'm stable, I'm anchored, I'm strong, then I can be a support for others. So think of a lighthouse. A lighthouse is not there for itself, right? Its sole purpose is to guide ships safely back to shore, and so they don't have hectic accidents, I think. But a lighthouse is built on solid bedrock because it needs to withstand the waves that come crashing on it. And we know waves are quite powerful, right? Even just ordinary waves, not these tsunamis that we see that create so much chaos and damage, but just the waves. If you go sit on the beach and you hear it crashing, you can see the force. And so obviously there needs to be a very strong foundation. But because it's on that strong foundation, it can do what it needs to do, not just for itself, which is stand strong and keep its light shining, but it does that so others can take benefit from that. And so my selfishness, if you want to call it that, is really about holding myself in a place that I feel strong, so that I can be a support to others and help them bounce back from whatever it is that they need to. Because resilience is about bouncing back also. And I think, someone shared the image that came was a twisted rubber band. And maybe, I don't know if you want to share, but I'm thinking maybe it's because whatever you twist, it will come back to its original shape. Maybe, but you might have had a different thought or feeling around it, but it just came to mind. So one is creating that strong, solid foundation, but being able to bend as well, so I don't break. So flexibility, adaptability, not resisting anything, working with what's there, but creating ways that can bring out the best in that moment. So I can be very creative, isn't it? Sometimes we're so stuck, we see a problem and right, this is how I've always dealt with it. So I go with charging in with that same kind of mindset. And then I get the same results, isn't it? And that's what creates, I keep trying, nothing changes. But this idea then, can I shift perspective? Can I look at things differently for a change? Can I stretch myself? Can I bring in creativity? Because that's stepping into unfamiliar territory as well. And every time I'm stepping into unfamiliar territory, I'm building a capacity to stretch myself. So if there's a bag and you fill it up, but let's say it's a rubber bag. I don't know if you get rubber bags, but if you want to put more stuff in it, you stretch it and you stretch it, think of a balloon. You can put air and then you can say, no, the balloon is blown. Someone will come and blow more air into it and it just keeps expanding in a way. So it's about, can I keep expanding my consciousness? Can I keep expanding my limits so that I can tap into what I already have within myself, but I'm not aware of it. Because I'm sitting on the surface, I'm not going deep to see, hey, what actually is there? And the more I discover, the more amazed I become of, hey, I actually do have this insight. Hey, I remember this helped me 10 years ago and I emerged a victor in that situation, And so it's just we forget and we get so caught up with the outside and the norms, societal norms and the expectations. And they're real. So it's not that I can just negate them and say, you know what, I'm not interested. It's not about that, but it's rather about what do I want to deepen within myself so that I can then manage, and not just manage, but thrive amidst all of this craziness that I experience on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis sometimes. And so it is a personal choice, but like I said, it's driven by my intention and my purpose and my willpower. How much do I want that? Because there's moments, I'm sure, in your life when you were so determined to get something, become something, do something, no matter what people told you, no matter what challenges came, you somehow just kept going because you had full faith and belief in that if I keep at it, something will happen. But the thing is, we only get into that mindset when things become very challenging or when we become a bit desperate sometimes. But what leads to that is a buildup of small little things. So if I take care of the small little things, quietly I'm building internally. And then when the big thing comes, I don't have to stretch myself so much because I've already done the stretching in increments so that it doesn't feel like so overwhelming and so difficult. And then it becomes easy. And then you realize, hey, how come I'm able to go through this relatively easy? I'm not going to say completely easy, but relatively easy. And if you look back, you'll notice this is what I've been investing quietly in myself, whether it's moments of, just being with myself, taking time out, understanding how much I can push myself, how much I should hold back. And so it's about this discovery of my inner world, which is so rich and so full and so vibrant, just like nature. They say if you go to the depths of the ocean, that's where you find amazing, amazing sea life. That on the surface or just below the surface, you don't see much, but there's amazing things. And the deeper you go, the more silent it becomes. And so same with us, the deeper I go, the more silent it becomes, which means the noise of my mind quietens. So I can see, I can feel, I can be intuitive, and I can be guided by that energy. So I must learn to love solitude. Yeah, people like being alone. Yes, okay, I'm talking to the converted. There must be a love for silence and solitude. And it doesn't mean being alone. It's just I like being in my company. So I'm quite comfortable with myself, by myself. I don't need others to pick me up. And silence isn't it can be a sweet silence that sounds, it's not a dry silence, it's not a scary place, but it's about, I want to go deep, I want to go quiet so I can hear myself, so I can listen to that voice that trying to speak to me, but I'm so loud in my mind that I drown it out. And you will see some beautiful things emerging, some not so great things, but that's okay, part of the process, but there's some very amazing things that one taps into. So yeah, those are some of the things I wanted to share. So, it's like take moments to just breathe sometimes, take time out to just be quiet, half an hour. Is half an hour doable? Some people say we don't even have 5 minutes. You're talking about half an hour. But even 5 minutes, take 5 minutes even. There we go. Sham is reminding us, just a minute even. To just pause, even if it means breathe deeply, find something to focus on, become fully present, and then try and look at things from different perspectives, shifting perspectives. Don't keep on with the old eyes and mindset. And that's the whole aspect of digging deeper, that I look at things differently. And then also, we were speaking about compassion and having mercy and love for the self. Very much of this is guided by my inner dialogue. What's the monologue that's happening internally? What's the quality of my conversation with myself, which seems like a paradox? No, how can I talk with myself? But it's about becoming aware of what's happening internally. And is it a voice of as a critique, or is it a voice of a very good friend of mine? And if it's the critique, then let me start beginning to develop that relationship of friendship, because that's like an easy, you don't have to prove anything, you don't have to be anything more than you already are. And so a place where you feel safe within yourself. And then the other source, and we touched on it a little bit, I think Val mentioned it and a few in the chat, connecting to the divine, because that one is always stable, constant, 100% with everything. And so if I connect to that source, then I draw that and I also become full and stable. Someone was describing it as God as being a powerhouse. And so if you tap into the powerhouse, then your battery gets charged. And so lovely analogy to keep. If I want to charge my battery, I know where to go to. But the idea is not to let it dissipate, but it dissipates inevitably. But at least I know where to plug in when I need to build that inner capacity within myself. Okay, so those were some thoughts. And then, just one other thought that came up is we spoke of flexibility, adaptability, acceptance. Don't fight with the drama of life. When I say fight, we want to control, we want certain outcomes, we want things to be in a certain way. That just creates resistance and it takes you outside. Resilience is about building capacity inside. And so find ways to see good in every scene that comes my way. Find ways to look at the gifts and the blessings and the lessons rather than why is this, shouldn't be like this, how can they do that? And I'm so frustrated and then it goes on and on, you know? So just pause and say, okay, what's the gift here? What's the lesson here? What's the benevolence this moment is offering? And it helps to go inside to see what can I draw from it rather than how it's coming to become a problem for me. So again, it's about shifting internally, repositioning myself in a place that is supporting where I want to be. So it's not about what's right and wrong. It's not about how it should be or shouldn't be. It's about how do I hold myself in that place of anchor and stability. Because from that, I'm able to influence the drama around me in a positive way. Not control, influence quietly. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I want to open up for any questions, any comments or thoughts you might have. Those on the chat also, if you, not on the chat, on Zoom, if you also have anything, please feel free to unmute or you can put it in the chat. No one? Okay. Let's see, there's one that's come through. So could you please share some suggestions with a few daily coping skills to build momentum of resilience? I think a few I might have shared in between, but taking time out is absolutely essential. Investing in myself. I also find journaling is a very, very useful tool. Make it a habit because sometimes we sit with things in our head, but when you put it on paper, you can see it objectively also. And so journaling is another tool, but also then, you know, take time to learn to get to know yourself. So sometimes just sit quietly and ask yourself a few questions like, hey, what's important to you right now? Or what is it that, you know, is taking away my happiness or my joy? What am I being triggered by? So creating a culture of wanting to know about myself, not things and people and all of that. You can do that. That's not a no-no, but in terms of what we're talking about today, it's finding things that I can discover about myself and then make time to be with God, the divine, the higher power energy, however you, but something greater that you feel you can align yourself to is very useful and powerful because like I said, that's the source of my power and that's where I can feel most secure. So find ways in which I can deepen my relationship with God. And I try and go into, so we talk about God being this loving being, God being so powerful and wonderful and merciful and compassionate, all of these things. But do I feel that? And so that's the key. Create a relationship, and exchange happens in a relationship where I feel so safe and comfortable with this divine presence that I can open my heart to fully receive what he is sharing. It takes a bit of humility. Humility is very much rooted in self-respect. If I don't have self-respect, I can't be humble. And where there's humility, there's natural self-respect as well. So yeah, those are some quick things. And then also, you know, just do things you love doing. find some hobbies as a way of focusing your energy into something that brings joy to you. It can be small, it can be big. I take old wax and I melt it and make new candles. So that's my thing. And I love cooking, you know. So sometimes if I feel it's too much in my head, then I'll take time out and I'll do this candle thing. I'll put aside a few hours and I'll do this because it brings me back to a place of okay, kind of a thing. And it's not like I have to do something, but I want to do it because I enjoy it. So find things that you enjoy doing just for yourself, not to please someone, not to make something or prove. No, no. So even if you just want to just sit and look at the clothes dry on the washing line, then do that even, or you just want to, whatever it is. So take time to do things that you love because it does help to create a positive energy in you that can then facilitate going a bit deeper. Hope that helps, Rajiv. Okay. So if there isn't anyone else, can we just take maybe a moment to have a closing little reflection? So thank you for joining us. We'll just end off with a few minutes of meditation. So once again, let me take this moment to come back to that place of quiet stillness inside. And I just anchor myself in the awareness of who I am as a spiritual being. And that within myself, I hold a treasure store of wonderful gifts. And so just allow your mind and the thoughts to become so still and quiet. And imagine that your mind is like a still, crystal clear blue lake that's reflecting scenes of nature around me. There's a soft, quiet stillness in the air, a place that invites softness, warmth, joy. And I just walk to the edge of this lake. And I notice the clarity of the images that are reflected back. And as I step to the water's edge, I see my own reflection. And I see reflected back at me my best self, the one that holds everything close to their heart, the one who experiences the beauty in everything, who appreciates and celebrates this beautiful being that I am. And so just take a moment to witness the reflection of your highest self that is rooted in self-respect, in your own inner values, principles, truth, and just radiates your purest intention in a very natural way. And so let me keep this image fresh in my mind's eye, knowing that this is within myself. I just need to take a moment or two to stop and just look at this face in the heart and allow all the beauty to emerge. And so quietly holding on to these feelings and this image and these thoughts of your beautiful self, I invite you once again to just come back into the present moment, to be here in the now. Thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful week of what's left of it. Weekend, we should say weekend. And do take time out to enjoy the things you love doing by yourself. Try and do it not with other people, but try and find something you love doing by yourself and see how that goes. So good night and take care, and we'll connect again next week.
Thank you. Om Shanti.